Okay, great morning. I'm going to try this one more time. I uploaded a whole video yesterday and it disappeared. Okay, so I was asked about explain the one hand clapping. Well, the one hand clapping is a Zen koan. Okay, now Zen koans are something that one focuses on to the exclusion of all other thoughts. There are a number of really interesting Zen koans. Like another one I like, besides the one hand clapping, is the one, what's your original face before you were born? What's your original face before you were born? And then there's another one that goes down to everything is the one, and then what is the one divided into? Okay. So when you focus on these Zen koans, it's supposed to help you to get beyond the rational type of thought, logical type of thought. They had another one that says, what is a Buddha? The Buddha is 5 pounds of flaxseed. It was, it's just things that, does a dog have a Buddha nature? Is another one. Does a dog have a Buddha nature? So it's something that you sit there and you meditate on and you stick with it for a very long time. Now, if you get to the one hand clapping or the original face or the one, now the one is interesting because when I lived in India, there was a maths genius there. And he overheard me talking. I said, everyone says God is a one, but the God can't be the one because the one is divisible. God is not divisible. God is the zero. Well, this perked up his ears because this guy, he thought in equations, and he wrote a paper that only 15 people on the planet would understand. Now, I can't understand somebody that thinks in equations. That's definitely not my realm of experience. Okay, I don't get equations at all. But that he actually thought in equations. And he understood what I was saying when I was saying God is the zero. Now, if you have the zero, what happens? It has no value within itself. It's empty. And where you want to go in Buddha mind is empty. You want to get to that empty. I call it, sometimes they say the void, the empty, but I call it the pregnant void because everything that will ever come into existence is there, okay? It's not manifested yet, but it's there. Just like the original face is that divine is, that spiritual, that energy, okay? It doesn't have a physical form, but it has more reality than anything you see here, okay? So again, these koans are to keep you a place to focus and to go beyond your normal rational type of thought process. Now, when you get to the zero, which if you have the zero, what happens with it? If you have the one and you add a zero, what happens to that one? It becomes 10. Okay? So you got way greater value. Another zero, which is empty in itself, makes 100. Okay? So it adds value to everything, but within itself, it appears to have no value. Empty in nature. Okay? So that's the way I like to try to explain the divine is. It's if you go into the temples, Shiva temples, Shivite temples, you'll see the linga, okay? And especially if you go to the temples in Khajuraho. Now, Khajuraho is very interesting. Those are the tantric temples where you get a lot of crazy stuff. They don't understand Tantrism at all. They don't understand the, people on the outside of the temple. It's people doing all their daily things, whether it's sex, whether it's working in the field, whatever it is, it's all on the outside of the temple. It has to do with the world of duality. It also has a lot to do with maths. Okay, how the temples come together, 3s, 7s. It's, a lot of mathematical things within that as well. Now, if you go to Khajuraho and you stand on the steps, you're looking out at the world of duality, division, all the things that are happening. The further you go into the temple, the quieter it becomes until you get to the inner sanctum. Now, in the inner sanctum, you'll see the linga that's in the yoni. Okay. Now, the yoni represents Shakti. It brings everything into existence. It's like the birth. They say it's like the birth canal. Okay. It's like the womb. Everything comes out of that and comes into birth, into existence. And then you have the linga. The linga is like that divine is. It is the pregnant void, if you will. Okay? The seed state. That's why the linga is in a circle. It's like a seed state. Now, a lot of people want to say the linga represents a penis. It doesn't represent a penis. If you want to represent a body part that would be more rationally what that is, it would be a testicle. Because why? The testicle has the seed in it. The seed comes out, and then you have the birth. Okay? So it's representative of the divine is. Okay? The pregnant void. Okay? The seed state. Okay? That energy before it comes in and gets divided. Shakti's like a prism. It divides that energy. And the energy, depending on how rapidly it's vibrating, everything is comprised of energy. The consciousness is energy as well. Okay, so you have this color. It vibrates at a certain level. Okay, another color vibrates at another level. If something seems really solid, then it's a very, very slow vibration. The faster it vibrates, the more ethereal it is, the more, the less solid it is. You see, also the divine is, this is a light beyond lights. It vibrates so quickly that you can't see that light. It is so fast. Okay? So there are so many things contained in this. The Zen Koan himself is to get you to that still mind. Okay? It's to implode the thought. It's to still it. Okay? Now, along the path, I talk about, you have to enter like witness state. Witness state is when you have, you've gotten in the heart, you've had that expansion. I talk about focusing on the heart. And while we have people that don't understand it, oh, you're all body, that's all you know. Now, the spiritual heart is right to the right of sternum. Now, you'll hear Ramana talk about the spiritual heart as well. The divine is. Kundalini, you end it in the heart center, okay? Kundalini is the divine is. It is Shakti. It is the self, okay? So for those that want to poo-poo Kundalini, they don't have any idea of what was talked about or what Ramana was saying about it. Without Kundalini awakening, you cannot have realization, okay? Because that is moving consciousness, the purity of it, okay? So let's go forward. You're focusing on the heart center, the spiritual heart center. And that begins to open things for you. Now, when you get to this one state of witness state, you have a buffer zone. You can see things happening, but the mind is, able to have a buffer zone that you can watch it and comment on it at the same time. Now, I always talk about my own journey in witness state. Remember, there was one time I was really angry with something. It's just going off, and I'm watching this, because I'm in witness state. So I'm able to see it as it's proceeding. The body's doing what it's doing, having a knee-jerk reaction, screaming memes. And, the witness state, you're witnessing it and you're going, well, that's pretty stupid. And meanwhile, the body's going, and you're watching it and going, okay, well, that's really stupid. Okay. It's not benefiting anything. So again, witness state is that buffer zone where you're able to see the action as it's happening and able to dissect it, look at it, dissect it, and again, go a little deeper, go deeper. Okay. So again, you ask, what is the sound of one hand clapping? It's still, it's silent. The original face. Okay? Again, it's that energy, it's that singular. Now, when you get to the end of the path, whatever is in motion, you in the center seat state of it is stillness. In the midst of motion, you're aware of stillness. In the midst of sound, you're aware of silence. Okay? You're always aware of that seed state. Even though you see the physical world of duality, you're always aware of that divine is, the seed state. Okay? They are not separate. The divine is, you become like that string. And all of the experience are the pearls that are on that string. Now, the string carries the pearls. You're aware of the experiences. But the experiences are doing nothing to the string. They are not, they are not changing the string in any way, shape, or form. Okay? You become like the ocean. When you're doing the search, you're like the little drop. Okay? And when realization takes place, you're the ocean. Okay? You are the ocean. I also like to explain it like everything is, the divine is light. Okay? It's light, it's energy, it's consciousness. Consciousness is energy. Okay? An aware energy. Okay? So everything comes from that singular. Now, if you put a lampshade on it and you poke holes in it, what happens? Each one of those holes looks like a separate beam of light. So if each one of those beams of light thought it was a separate entity, that would be like people that are the ego, which is believing you are this physical form, that you are separate, something separate. Okay? But if you follow that, you're doing meditation, you follow that back and you go back through that little hole, you get to the light, what you find out is what? Everything proceeds from that single light. It's only Shakti, which is representative of the holes, that make it appear to be separate, something different. But in the end, no, they all come from that singular light source, that infinite state of possibility. Okay? The divine is. Okay? So when they talk about the self, they're not talking about the ego. Okay? They're talking about the divine is. What's the original face? What's the one when it's divided even further? When you go down to the bottom, the only thing that cannot be divided is the zero in the end. But when you have Shakti, Shakti is the one. So you have the zero and the one, you have 10. You have a multitude. Okay? You have that seed state, and then you have Shakti. Okay. So, thank you for your question about the Zen koan, about that one, you know. But really, some say that the Zen koans are to kind of just shock the mind. But really, it's just to give you something. If you have one thing to focus on, like Ramana gives, who am I? I give, what is this I? Okay? You have one thing to focus on rather than having the mind go off in 20 different directions. Or you can do the other practice like I gave the other day in the Zen one. You focus on the heart, and your full attention is in the heart, not on what the eyes are seeing. And that then causes that connection and heart expansion. And from that place, you can feel the different colors, how they feel. You feel it in the heart center, the spiritual heart, the divine is. Your temple. Any time you can go into the Holy of Holies, the temple is always here. Okay? So you can go in and you can explore the feeling of motion, the feeling of color, the feeling of sound. All of those things you can explore and become that connected with. Okay? And enjoy that. Okay? So thank you for your question. I'm going to leave this here, and I'll see you online.